How's it going there, YouTube? This is Quinn, that snazzy iPhone guy, and this is the video review of the Luxa2 M2 portable laptop cooler. Now, this is created, like I said, by Luxa2. For those of you that don't know, Luxa2 is a division of Thermaltake who makes some of the best PC enclosures and casings out there on the market. So they're a pretty reputable company, and they make a pretty interesting little product. Now, this is going to retail you $89.99 US, so it isn't cheap. I mean, it's not your typical think about it for 2 minutes, then purchase it by impulse laptop portable cooling stand. I mean, this takes a little bit of thought and consideration before purchasing it, but it has some definite pros, but some definite cons as well. Now, as you can see, it comes in a pretty nice carrying case. This comes with a little clip here, so if you want to lanyard it to your backpack or whatever, you can see already folded in half that it is pretty big. It isn't thin by any means. That's probably 2 inches thick. And, you know, you do have to fit a fan inside, so you have to keep in mind that it will be a little bit thicker, but this could fit in pretty much any laptop bag, but you're certainly not going to be want to carrying it around if you don't have some sort of bag to carry it in. So it's not the thinnest thing out there. Now, when we pull this magnetic collapse up, we can pull the actual cooler out, and I'll give you kind of a demonstration of the features of this and why it works the way it does and what it does exactly. So, like I said, and pretty well self-explanatory, it is a portable laptop cooler. Now, I'm going to zoom up here if I can turn, automatic focus off on my camera. So as you can see, we have the laptop cooler itself. Like I said, not the thinnest thing out there. You can open it up here, and this is where the laptop sits. Now, there's 8 feet that are rubber, so your laptop can sit nice and soft there without damaging any of the aluminum or plastic on your laptop. And you have your coolers right here. Now, you have the actual fan right here, and this is a pretty small fan, but it puts out quite a bit amount of air against your laptop. So that works pretty nicely. And then you have a heat sink here as well. So you have 2 methods of cooling, both work pretty well. And then of course you have the USB cord, which plugs into your laptop because it isn't self-powered. I mean, it does rely on the power of your computer to work. But you can see the build quality is beautiful. It's made out of solid aluminum. You have this fan intake here, and then of course the output here. You have the heat sink, and then on the other side you have the Luxa2 logo with Swarovski crystals. Not a huge fan of these. I think they've always looked a little bit cheesy, but for those of you that do kind of want that better looking device, that's certainly there with the Luxa2. It has a nice folding enclosure, again, all metal. The only part that's plastic is these end caps here, and unfortunately, I really hate the end caps. Not because they don't work good or not because they don't look okay. The problem is it's like a really off-white. As you can see right there, I wish it was white. If it was white, it'd be dead on. I wouldn't mind about the plastic caps, but it almost seems a little bit, I don't know, tacky. It just seems like this white is not the white that it should be. It seems kind of yellowed, and it just gives a little bit of a cheapy looking feeling to this $90 laptop cooler. Now, up here close, and we'll focus in here, you'll be able to see right there that we have some rubberized feet, and that is so when it sits against your desk, it doesn't scratch your desk either. So, I mean, that's a very discreet line. It's on both sides, and that way you can protect your desk and also protect the aluminum on this without getting anything scratched. So that's good. The question is, how does it work, and does it work well? So we have the Luxa2 right here, and we're going to open it up. We're going to put it this way because that's how our MacBook sits. Again, we pull this cord out and just feed it through the other side. Now, one thing that's really great about this is, as you can probably see right there, we have an external USB cord. So it takes a USB input, but it also puts one out, so you don't lose any power. USB 2.0 out, same speed, so even though this does withdraw power from your bus, it takes very little power and also doesn't swallow up a USB port. It leaves that open, so that's really nice to see. One thing I really dislike is this kind of notch here, if you can see that. The reason it's a problem for me is on the MacBook, you have to situate this further. Here, let me just explain. This will be a little bit easier. You can see right here on the MacBook, you have the 2 USB slots. Now, typically I'd put it in this one, but the problem is, if you can see when you put this in there, you have this issue right there. And that blocks the other USB port. So you have to put it in the frontmost one if you want access to this one. And then your laptop stand's kind of like your laptop cooler is kind of midway on your laptop, and it's kind of a weird setup, but I'll show you that in a minute. Here we have it, good to go. All right, feed that through. We're gonna place our MacBook on top. One last thing, you can see that there's kind of a tri-stage rocker. This is really nice because it actually tips to the way your MacBook lays, or your computer. I mean, it doesn't have to be a MacBook, but it tips to the way that your computer does. So, and this is nice because you know, you can get kind of a tilt and kind of a lip there, and that way your MacBook isn't sitting flat on it, because then if it did, it would be very tappy and bouncy. So if it sits and situates to the way that your computer lies, which is quite nice. Now, it even works when your MacBook is closed, so we're going to plug it in here. Sorry about that. It's going to take a minute. We got it plugged in. This is my 15-inch MacBook. It will work with all MacBook models, so you shouldn't experience any issues. And my MacBook takes up the whole camera frame, but if we flip it on bottom, you'll see that the fan itself is spinning. It's if you pull it forward a little bit, it does actually get into the intake, but you can just stick it about right here because this is where the majority of the heat is. The heat sink on this side takes care of all the heat over here, and then the fan kind of just circulates the air and kind of gets rid of all that other stuff. So it does fit pretty well, and you know, it does a pretty decent job at cooling. I was looking at my temperature on my computer, and the average, excuse me, that was very well. The average temperature of my computer was about 180 to 200 degrees when I started doing some heavy-duty video processing. The fans inside my MacBook sounded like they were going to explode, and when I used the Luxa, it was still very hot. It was about 160 to 190, but it was probably 20 degrees cooler, which is pretty nice. So it does work. It is pretty loud. You probably can't hear it right now with this microphone, but it is running. I mean, I can assure you of that. But like I stated earlier, the best part about this is it doesn't gobble up a USB port. You have it coming out that side, and optimally you would stick it right here, and you'd be good to go. So, I mean, it's a pretty good system. It's well built. The question is it actually necessary? And I would have to say not really. The problem with this is it doesn't actually alleviate the issue of having the laptop on your lap or in a bed where there's not a lot of air circulation. Stands will actually elevate your laptop from the surface, and so the fans can do as they will because they're circulating into open air. This still doesn't elevate the computer a lot, and you still find yourself having overheating issues, and you're getting up into the 200 degree, and it's kind of scary because, wow, you know, it shouldn't be getting that hot. And the Luxa2 does its job, but probably not as good enough to justify the $90 price point. So I would think that for 40 bucks, 50 bucks, this would be a pretty much you have to buy. But at its very lofty $90 price point, it's not that much more effective than ones you can find on eBay for 5 to 10. So even though it is functional, even though it is beautiful, it's not really worth, at least in my opinion, the $90 that you pay for it. This is Quinn, that's Snazzy iPhone Guy. Thank you so much for watching. That is the video review of the Luxa2 M2 mobile laptop cooler. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, rate, comment, and as always, stay snazzy. See you later, folks.